So this is part 4. Caroline Mwatha, the affair and the abortion. So it turns out, after the police started on their investigation, that Caroline was in contact with another man, not her brother and not her husband, another man. And this man went by the name Alexander Gitao. And the man worked in Isiolo. And the police say that this man was her boyfriend. The two, they exchanged communication, talking about something peculiar, something that most of us don't talk about, unintended abortion. And the man sent her some money to undergo an abortion. According to the text messages, the doctors had asked for 7,000, and Caroline had told Alexander what they had asked for. She also said that she negotiated to 6K, but he only sent her 5K. The doctors had asked for a lot of money for that abortion because the baby had become big, and we'll see how big the baby was. So Joshua, you remember Joshua? He never suspected that his wife was cheating, according to what he told the media. And he says, even if Caroline was pregnant, it would have been his child, because he says he was with her in August, 6 months ago, when he was in the country, and he had knowledge of her. And this is what happens. One day I'll talk about the impact of infidelity on men in our society. But for today, I'll just say this. Disorder in society is the result of disorder in the family. Some of the things that Caroline was fighting against, they resulted from families that were torn apart. And yes, some of them are torn apart because of such things. Life is a circle. You might be fighting for something. At the same time, you might be participating in the causation of something. That you're fighting a problem and you're participating in the causation of another problem. As the family goes, the world goes. So those text messages that these guys were exchanging, Caroline and Alexander, I noticed some things. And it reminded me of Monica Kimani. Because Caroline was telling Alexander, nasikia tu baridi kwa wingi kutoka juzi. She was feeling cold. Her body was feeling cold. Some say that when our time comes, we have a feeling. We don't know exactly what's coming, but all indications are that things are coming. The same thing usually happens to animals. Where an earthquake is about to happen, you'd see animals running in a certain direction. Or perhaps when a tsunami happens, observations have been made that animals would notice that something is happening and they would be running away. Perhaps not all, perhaps some. Caroline also says, nimechoka. She tells that to Alexander. She tells him, take care, I miss you, I love you. Pray that things may turn out well, and do not worry too much. And I remember Monica Kimani. When she died, her throat was slit. Her hands were covered, were tied. She only had her killers with her. Somebody who had betrayed her was with her at the moment she died. She didn't text anybody that she missed them, that she loved them. Nobody texted her back. Nobody was worrying her about her at that time. She died alone, and she died cold, with blood rushing out of her. And I felt that was one of the saddest deaths that anybody can have. For Caroline, she at least got to tell somebody that she misses her, to tell somebody that she loves that person, to tell that person to pray and not to worry too much. Monica Kimani never had that chance. I feel that is sad. So details of the abortion, right? She went to a clinic in Dandora Phase 1 in Nairobi. The name of the clinic was New Njiru Community Center. The owner of the clinic is Betty Akinyi Nyanya, aka Betty Ramoya. The doctor of interest is Dr. Michael Onchiri, aka Dr. Michael. Caroline went there on February 6th, 2019, the day she disappeared. She died in that clinic. The body was transferred to Nairobi City Mortuary by February 7th, 2019 at 4:42 a.m. And everybody was searching for her. Even by 11th, Mike Sonko was offering a reward for anybody but there are people who knew where she was, who had orchestrated everything, who had put a fake number. Walifanyisha watu kazi ya bure just to cover their wrongs. So an autopsy was done, right, by Dr. Peter Ndegwa. He did it on behalf of the family and other human rights groups because nobody believed the police. The autopsy was conducted at Umash Funeral Center. And Dr. Peter Ndegwa, he spoke to the public after the autopsy. And this is what he says. Caroline was 5 to 6 months pregnant with a male fetus. It was a boy. How many of us have wanted a boy? Caroline had one. 5 to 6 months. So if it's 6 months, remember, Joshua was here 6 months ago. So if it's 5 months, then it definitely belongs to Alexander. But that is a story for another day. Perhaps a story for the family only. The doctor says that the body of the fetus, besides being male, it was pale white. And that signifies an excessive loss of blood. So how did the fetus lose blood? The arms and the legs of the fetus were damaged. It had no left upper limb. The head of the fetus, that's how a fetus looks like in the second trimester. That's the beginning of the 4th month. What happens now? They cut the limbs. They cut of the fetus. So that's why it had no left upper limb. The head of the fetus was partly damaged. The fetus had no brain because that brain had been sucked out. Because after they cut the fetus to ensure that it can move past the canal, they suck it out. The fetus had no brain because it had been sucked out. The right to life is the first among human rights. To abort a child is to kill someone who cannot defend himself. Pope Francis. So there was extreme damage to the fetus. At 18 days, that's 2 weeks, the fetus has a heart. That heart is already beating. So when you cut it up, you're cutting a beating heart. It has its own blood supply. That's why the doctor says there are so many things. At conception, that's when life begins. And that's why Pope Francis says, to abort a child is to kill someone who cannot defend himself. And for those who don't know, the fetus tries to reach to the upper part of the womb as they are cutting its limbs at the bottom, going up. It fights to survive. So anyway, that was to the fetus. And that's why people always speak about double homicide. And that was what Caroline was going to do, to kill a human. A human that has a heart, that has its own blood supply, that has the DNA that you can differentiate from any other species on Earth. But things also went bad for Caroline. Her uterus was perforated at the back. Another word for they used was ruptured at the back. More than a liter of blood went into the abdomen because of that rupture. The fetus had come out of the uterus because of that perforation. It had gone into the abdominal cavity. Now this one's, I'm not a doctor, so I'll just say it as I had it. Excessive blood in the abdominal cavity. Caroline died from excessive blood in that cavity. And guys were lying that it was pedophilia. They couldn't say it was abortion. So anyway, people whose direct participation in this incident is known were detained, right? The clinic owner, Betty, Alexander, the boyfriend, who gave how much? 5,000 for an illegal procedure. There's Michael Onchiri, aka Dr. Mike. They always have, friendly names. But the things they do. People whose involvement I'm not really sure about were also detained. There's Richard Ramonyo, that's the son to Betty. There's Georgia Achieng. There's a taxi driver. Taxi drivers. One day I want to do a thing on taxi drivers. And this guy, his name was Stephen Minor. You have to be careful. Many taxi drivers participate in illegal activities. Others do so without knowing. Somebody just comes with a package with a cargo. Somebody just tells them, take me there. Exercise care as a taxi driver. So, yes, Caroline Mwatha was going to do something that was going to hurt another person. That person. And she did it willingly. She did it intentionally. And she did it with concern to herself and not to the baby. Abortion is a sin besides being illegal. And somebody said, it is true that we cannot be free from sin, but at least let our sins not be repetitive. She was a feminist, and feminism is the ideology of stupidity. And perhaps she never knew some things about abortion. I did a video on abortion, please watch it. And you will see and you will know the things that they lie about when they speak about abortion. Perhaps she didn't know. Or perhaps she knew, but she was feeling like she was under so much pressure that she had to abort. Perhaps you have aborted yourself. Perhaps you have encouraged an abortion. Perhaps you have done other things like I have. Listen to Saint Teresa of Avila. It is true that we cannot be free from sin, but at least let our sins not be repetitive. Do not abort again. Do not commit the same thing over and over again.